Hey, everyone. How's everybody doing tonight?
Yeah, decent enough,
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we get right into it then?
if you wish.
I think it would
Sounds good to
be
me.
prudent. As the party awakes from their well rested night, at least most of them having had a well rested night, that is much more of a well rested day given the time of that you went to sleep. It's currently mid afternoon, probably sometime about like 4 or 5 afternoon. And the air is rife with good smells and the general sounds of merriment and festivities. You awaken from your bunks. Drifter is currently away, being treated at a hospice or other medical location. The three of you have all awoken.
Do you think we should check on Rifter? Just see how he's holding up with his arm?
Sure. Doesn't hurt to check on him. We've got the time.
You make your way through some of the trenches, which now are much less depressing now that it's A, not nighttime, and B, there's no more cloud kill. There's still a little bit of clouds in the sky. It looks like it's a little bit of a overcast day, but nonetheless, there is joy in the air, and a few different soldiers along the line are drinking beer as the lines are generally less populated than before. You make your way into a particularly well-placed area near the core of the encampment, and within it you see a few wounded soldiers, of which one of them contains a bed and cot for Rifter.
Hey, are you holding up all right?
You see Rifter's just kind of very snug in his bed. His tidy body is enveloped in the blankets, and you just see his beady eyes pointing out at you. He just goes, "You're home for."
Well, be sure to not put too much strain on that arm. I know he put you through the ringer. Just you're gonna be here a while, so please take care of yourself while we try to help here.
Yes, I could use a nice relaxing break personally. This will be fine. 3 square meters a day. Ain't no different than prison. Only a lot more nice.
I was about to say,
I don't know. I've seen some pretty nice prisons.
Rifter kind of looks at him curiously, like, "What prisons you going to? I want to go there."
Well, don't get me started. There are some problems with people being so down in the dirt that they need to put themselves in prison to have something to eat.
Ugh. Yeah. Was never one of those. But yeah, I'll be fine. It's your lot that I'm more worried about. You will be out there without me to watch your back.
I will admit, not having another set of eyes that know the city will be a little bit stressful, but I think I can manage getting us through it. Hopefully, anyways.
hmm. Well, who knows? We might be able to find someone.
I wouldn't count on too much friendliness when we reach Korheim.
No, but the people here, I imagine they would be more than happy to help the people who helped win the front.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, when we do start approaching, what are we going to do about any sort of like up and down gestures at you. Lorik.
Well, since we're not planning to do business where there is an invading force, I don't imagine that there would be much problem.
I mean, even so, I still think it would be better to be ambiguous. This isn't a warfront battle. This is the city. This is where confusion is at its highest, a concrete jungle. If we can get away with avoiding fights instead of taking them and get to the things that we need to get to before they're potentially destroyed, I would prefer to take that
Well,
route.
if nothing else, Gorheim's still quite a ways away. We are, by my best guess, still at least a week out.
Indeed, but it's good to think about these things in advance.
Well, I'm not the only Viemnary here. I imagine that they have something in mind to help in that regard.
Of course, of course. All right. Are you sure you're going to be all right here, Rifter?
I'm going to be just fine, laddie. This is not the first time I've been beaten up and put into hospice.
That's not what I mean. You're losing a potential chance at the head of some Volstroms by not coming with us.
Oh, don't worry, I'll catch up, I'm sure.
All right.
Besides, if y'all win, I'm sure they'll want you to take those mateys, captive, keep them nice and alive so that they can be executed nice and proper.
I don't know if we're at that point of the war yet. We might have passed it. I'm not sure. We'll have to see what they want. In any words, I'll make a strong advocation to not kill them yet.
Thanks, laddie. We appreciate it.
We've
Stay
all-
strong, Rifter.
He'll
I'm
be
sorry, what was
fine.
that?
Nothing.
Rifter gives you a wink and he says, "Now get out of here, you're
Mhm.
ruining my alone time." And
And if you're planning on getting a new arm, make sure you let me know before you take it out of as he's walking out.
on... He continues to go back to sleep, and he's very peaceful, actually, much more peaceful than you've seen him in a long time.
Oh.
You know, I'm kind of worried about him.
I don't know. I've been worried about him before, but I don't know. It seems different this time.
That's not why I'm worried. He's, as far as I know, only known a desire for vengeance. This is his final vengeance. What will he have left after we're done here?
He'll have
This
up.
is his life.
Start a
This
new one.
is- Yeah. This is something that I have to ask myself, Lorik. What do I do once we've dealt with Nidhogg? What will I have? And I stop, and I look around, and I have you, and I have Strunhoff, and I have Rifter, and I have the business.
Hmm.
If it comes down to it, and he has nowhere else to go, he can be my dark side informant when we start expanding our trade empire, once we get the time for it.
You make a good point.
We're
I
here.
worry about him.
I know you do.
I,
And that's why you don't need to worry about him. Funnily enough.
I suppose you're right. I still wonder how Dyer's doing. I know we sent him that sending a while back, but We weren't able to get much of a response from him.
I have a feeling it won't be much longer. I don't know why, but it's just a good feeling.
Once again, I hope you're right.
My gut tends to be.
Well, shall we see if we're needed anywhere for the time being?
I think that would be wise. I'm not sure what's been going on, or at least we're not sure what's been going on the front ever since we left. Be good to check around, status update, see what needs help, see if anybody needs healing, that kind of thing.
Alright. Frankly, even if we get nothing else done today, helping to give aid to the wounded would be a worthy use of our time.
Of course. Leave we off
Alright,
ourselves.
you got him. You make your way, and currently, as you enter the room to which the general is, first of all, there's a fair bit more not casualty, that's the exact opposite of what I want. The environment is far less strict and stringent than the previous time you had been there. I'm going to go ahead and switch us over to the correct scene now. As you enter, there are 3 of them around the table, each of them having drinks in their hands, not being drunk or anything of the sort, but certainly in celebration. Very much seeming to be sticking in theme with much of the rest of the people around the camp.
Greetings.
Oh,
The second in command moves over and shakes each of your hands and thanks you very profoundly for having done a fantastic job.
Well, I'm just glad that we were able to get out of there alive, frankly.
it was a little scary at points, but I think we would have been fine.
He just gives a bit of a curt nod. If you'd like, I can speak on his behalf, but there's not too much to be said right now. You want to talk about this on a walk or anything, or would you prefer to do so here?
I'm fine with whatever everyone else prefers.
We should move. We should look around, get ourselves a bearing while we're listening.
As you make your way around, generally he starts walking towards the center of the plaza, but takes a little bit of detours, just walking along the lines, showing off how morale has greatly improved. Like, there's multiple locations where there have been clear breaches where the force has successfully made it to the other side. He tells you about how the front is moving exceptionally quick and that the break of the death fog has caused a great renewal in morale. And so currently they're making a lot of headway. They're going to set up a teleportation circle, hopefully either by the end of the day or in the next morning, quite a few miles down, once they start hitting a little bit more trouble. Which means that for now, all you have to do is spend your time around camp however you think is most effective, and try to enjoy yourself a little bit before another mission, if you'll be willing to accept it.
I suppose I can do that. Myself and Darius had thought to offer our magics to provide aid for those who are still wounded in the meantime.
An excellent choice. The seems like at the current time, there's at least two obstacles before we get to Korheim. Hopefully, not a third. First, and the one that will be the issue either tomorrow or the day after, is that there's a mage's fortress on the route there. We've currently got 3 ideas on how to tackle it, but we'd like your feedback and try to give you support based on which of the 3 options you'd like to pursue. The first is trying to reach the cistern near the center and attempting to deploy a mass amount of mage killer poison to properly neutralize them while we attempt to make our way past. Additionally, doing a little bit of other minor sabotage around to generally disrupt their ability to cast magics. That choice is perhaps the simplest and easiest, but also one which will be the least secure.
Seems incredibly risky getting into the center of their stronghold without unleashing an entire force of mages on us is a tall order.
The second one is not too much better, moving in and destroying many of their magical platforms, such that they at least won't be able to shell or create many more advanced spells on the time, generally sabotaging their supplies and such. It's a good middle ground between the two. The third would be perhaps the most dangerous in direct confrontation and would involve directly assassinating each of the head magisters of the fortress.
Somehow, out of all these options, I feel like poisoning the well is the least likely to backfire on us out of all of them. Unless they have some divine casters among their number who can remove the poison from it. Do we know what sort of arcanists they have under their command?
I'd have to ask around a little bit. I'll get you an answer. Hold on just a moment. And he leaves you. The 3 of you are on your lonesome.
I'm inclined to say that the poison is the best strategy, considering it has the least risk for our men, and frankly means that we're wasting less time on an assault than the other 2 options.
Indeed.
But if they have even one divine caster capable of removing the poison from the well, it all falls apart.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, the first thing that they would have to do is recognize that the well was poisoned, which, with proper poisons, will take time. Which means, at bare minimum, it weakens them significantly. It puts them into a situation where they have to consume resources, and if it's mage killer poison that we poison it with, if that holy caster happens to be one of the first to drink from it, they are not able to cleanse it. It's
a gamble.
Well, not necessarily. It is a strategy that will work, but we gamble how much it will work. We make it so that at bare minimum, a siege will be vastly easier.
Or, hear me out on this one. We go with the poison route, but if we are able to find out if they have any clerics or the like, we assassinate any clerics that do exist in their numbers.
Could work. I'm trying to think of something better. I hate to ask, but do you know if there's a way to aerosolize Mage Killer Poison?
I
Have you heard of it existing?
not as far as I'm aware. I would imagine my best guess would be someone finding some way to hybridize a cloud kill and dispel magic spell, but that I highly doubt that kind of research has been done because it would be so niche.
Indeed.
What if we were to poison the well with Mage Killer Poison and then fake them out with a cloud or a mist of quote-unquote Mage Killer Poison?
So pairing a cloud kill with an illusion of some kind.
Sort of like that, yeah.
We would have to see if we have any illusionists in our numbers, but that could work. Actually, we may not even need the real cloud kill at that point. We would just need to create a large enough illusion.
He returns. He shows to you a copy of an old script from about 6 years ago, which was part of a census, which detailed that at the time there were 57 mages on the compound, of which 3 of which were designated as clerics or other healers. However, one of them was considered a vitalis, and it's entirely likely that all of those numbers are much lower now given desertions and how the war is not particularly popular.
So,
Nonetheless,
at most,
the destructive capacity of it is nothing to be ignored and has to be
aye,
taken care of one way or another.
even if there's only a score of mages left, that's incredible arcane firepower.
Sure enough,
Indeed.
Yeah.
you'd specifically know about this one. This one is called Firekeep, and it was, I won't call it like a sister academy or anything to Runeworld, but it's one of those things where like you would have, for what counts as like mage sport, like they were two that like were in contact with each other quite frequently.
Okay. What is Mage Sport in like a
Like
short summary?
like just generally competitions between mages, keeping people, letting people
Okay.
learn more, test more, while still
Yeah.
being in a somewhat safe environment rather than having to go out and, fucking murder each other.
So it's basically pro
Right.
bending, but for mages.
Sure, let's go with that. And there's like a bunch of different forms. It's not just like one thing. It's just generic,
Yeah.
like
They're schools that have had regular contact for each of their benefits through competition.
right.
Is what I'm getting at. Or,
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
The dissemination of ideas and practices, it benefits everyone.
Right.
would you be telling us this?
I can. I don't see why I wouldn't.
Would Struenhoff tell us this if he knew it? That like, if you don't, then you don't. If you do, then you do.
I would probably mention that I've heard of the academy before that
Oh.
were seemingly.
Academy? It seemed like it was just a tower to me, or from the reports, anyways, that I've heard.
Well, from what I remember at my time at Runeworld, we used to have frequent contact with them. I'm not sure if that's still ongoing or not.
Your master, was he known at Runeweld?
He was known, but he was not one of the more popular professors. He was a bit of an outlier himself.
Right. I wonder then if we can use this to our advantage. A face coming with supplies from a friendly place would certainly lower their guards to a certain extent. And if you were to name specific professor that you are the prime student of, then it would be a potential way for us to get in there and identify any holy casters almost too easily.
I've only ever studied under my one professor for an extended period, and well,
Hmm.
he's been gone for a while. Still, there might be a way for us to make it work.
And this could be done in conjunction with our other plans, an ability for us to move in, have a tighter grasp on the situation when it arrives, and I would like to try to avoid killing as many of them as possible. I've never known mages to be the particularly warring type.
The ones I've met, Domarev's side, tend to be somewhat apolitical, so
Let's. All right. I think then the best bet is a conjunction of us having some sort of infiltration with Strunhoff as our core, alongside the implementation of the Mage Killer Poison plan.
So you're looking to be a little bit sneaky, blend in, pretend to be one of locals, and then if things go sour, be prepared for a fight?
Indeed.
we do
I think
also have another potential idea.
I think I've got someone who
Some
can fit for that. I'll get you in contact in a bit. Hopefully they're here.
He nods a couple times and turns to Lorik. You what?
I was going to bring up the idea of using illusions to try and imply that the poison was from a different source
Mm-hmm.
to draw their attention away from the water.
I think that would be probably the best bet. Sternhoff's Cloud Quill, or whatever the illusion for it would be. Right, you wanted to. And he sort of looks back at Lorik, and he sort of nods towards the guy, suggesting you ask him.
I apologies, I didn't know if you'd heard that or not. Essentially, my idea was that we, rather than spending the resources and risking making the area uninhabitable on a cloud kill spell, creating an illusion of a cloud kill after the cistern is poisoned to divert their attention away from the water and make them think that the symptoms that they're suffering are a result of a cloud kill spell. At the very least, buying a little bit more time for the poison to actually work.
As long as, if they're going to be aware of it either way, a ruse would be nonetheless. Very wise, Lord Lork.
Even a couple seconds could be enough time to disable even 3 more mages.
Confusion is king in these kinds of situations, and the more we can produce, the better.
Nonetheless, you have time, and I'm sure that doubtless of whichever method you choose will be able to have some support with you. So once you're done making your rounds and doing whatever it is, I'd recommend taking a bit of time at any kind of gestures away a little bit to where you see a somewhat nice wooden cabin a little bit off to the west. Many of the other troops are having a celebration to commemorate your victories. I'm sure you'd be well appreciated there.
Alright. I'll stop by after I make my rounds with healing.
We'll make sure we're there.
So, did all of you introduce yourselves to the general and the lieutenant as your actual names when you were doing introductions? I forget.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
assume
see any
anyone
reason.
would do something different.
I don't see any reason why we wouldn't have. I think we actually
Okay.
did as well.
Okay. You make your rounds. You do a sizable amount of healing on a few people. Some of it's not easy to treat and not capable of being treated with what you have given the specific kinds of magics used, but you have about like a 70% success rate. You're quite a
Nice.
bit more skilled at healing than quite a few of the clerics they have on hand, and the medics that do know more than you aren't necessarily able to do work particularly fast, as is the nature of things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I imagine lay on hands is typically much quicker than involved medical stuff.
Correct.
Well,
Good that we could help some people.
took a lot out of me magically, but I'll be fine after some rest.
It is now reaching about 7 or 8. The dusk is about to break.
Well, if we're done here, then we should probably make our way. It would be good
Aye.
for morale if we're present for a celebration.
My thoughts exactly. And we could use some rest ourselves.
I don't know if we're getting rest at a celebration, Lorik.
Not necessarily rest, but putting our minds at rest.
Aye.
As the three of you begin to approach the tavern, or perhaps more accurately a mess hall, you begin to hear a little bit of the instrumentation coming from within. It's certainly a joke. That's no good. Is the bot broken?
I don't know what
The
it's
bot might be
doing.
broken.
The bot's broken!
The bot is dead!
No big surprise.
Did you two kill it?
No,
You-
it hasn't
you-
accepted anything I've played.
Yeah, no, I'm saying you two may have killed the bot.
Oh, right.
No!
Because they've
But you
been
said
doing
you too.
Alright, I will put this on play on my side, and I will send it in player chat for the each of you to put on as well.
This is a true tragedy.
Behold, music.
Thank.
It's quite upbeat and exciting, and as you make your way into the door, a few people continue on as normal, but some of the people near you begin raising their glasses and giving off cheers. After a few seconds, it starts to become a pretty succinct one in which there are 3 rounds of rotations. For Darius, for Lorik, for Struenhoff, the best of us all! In that, like, 3 times. The general scent and waft of the area is, while not quite being able to compare to some of the royal halls, is a much welcome change to the mud and the cloud kill that's been generally in your vicinity for quite a good time.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of the more noticeable scenes is that drawing quite a little bit of a crowd are 2 individuals playing a game of regular chess near the center. One of them being your somewhat, I'll call it friend for now, Mr. Darksbane, who, with his helmet off, shows his, like, the first time you're seeing his face, being a fairly normal and almost unexpectedly average looking person. Got him. And across from him, a man with inexplicably good drip. A man clad in a golden black hat. Taking much ado against the situation against his Darksbane opponent.
You see, as the scene unfolds, Darksbane is in a real pinch. He begins holding his hand over to one piece, thinking about it, and then moving it over to another piece. And you just hear the stranger, who has his boots up on the table, his hat down, and he just says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you. Don't seem like a good move to me." And then Darksbane, like, second guesses himself and moves another piece. And then with the tip of his boot, he slides over his knight. He just says, "I believe that's check and mate, my friend. Good game."
Jesse.
he gets up as he notices you approach, and he looks dead on beeline at Lorik, and he says, "Well, well, well, if it ain't the big bad Lorik Delmariv. I must have shot somebody pretty important to be in this outfit. And y'all must be Darius and Strunhoff, if the songs about you are anything to note. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. My name is Cable McCree. I'm the best shot in the Empire, and I'll be running with y'all for a while, unless the higher-ups say something otherwise."
They've already made songs about us.
I mean, and he looks over to a bard that's singing a song referencing peculiar figures that vaguely sound like you guys.
Including the names Darius and Strunhoff and Lorik.
Yes.
The surprise is less about the songs and about the speed at which they've been made.
Maybe they were made today. I mean, y'all apparently won a pretty big victory now. They're pretty happy about it.
Oh, you know how bards work.
Yes, indeed they do. They always like the next trend. Next trend makes money.
Well, it is a pleasure. McCree, was it?
McCree, Cable, if you do. And he takes off his hat and he gives you a nice little bow.
Darius returns with his short, shallow, that's the word I'm looking for a bow as well.
Yeah, I'm from around these parts, you see, and they thought it was a good idea, I imagine, for me to be with you. I'm also from the Volstrom territories.
And I take it you're not very happy with the way things have been going with them.
I got a tiefling wife and kids, so no, I can't say that I'm happy that they want to kill my family.
Well, welcome to the band of the oppressed, then.
Indeed, indeed. By the way, as he took off his hat, you would note his very distinct half-elf ears. So, yeah, he also looks up at you, and you can see he doesn't have normal eyes. They shine a very bright gold, a very warm gold.
Well, it's wonderful to have you in the unit.
Yeah, I reckon y'all be doing all the fun heavy lifting while I take pot shots from the side. I'm a sharpshooter by trade.
Darksbane speaks up, and a pretty damn good one at that.
He won't get over this time we fought a Kraken together. He was in a tight pinch, but I got him out of there.
Did you know that Kraken's got 8 eyes and he shot 6 of them?
Aw, it was 5. He's being too generous.
Well, I know another one with some pretty ridiculous aim as well, but he couldn't be here today, so you've got some pretty big boots to fill, partner.
I'm sure your amigo is just fine, but I make no boast when I say best in the Empire. If I were being honest, I'm probably the best there is.
Well, we look forward to seeing that in action then, as he sort of looks to Lorik and Strunhoff.
Hi.
So,
The lieutenant comes rushing in through the door, not making too much of a scene, but then does eventually make his way over to you and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, Lord. Give me. Can I talk to you for just a second?"
Hi.
As he takes you off to the side, he says, "Hey, the general forgot to give this to you while you were here, given the festivities and all. But here you go." And he hands you a small purse.
Oh, well, thank you.
He also says
more than
that
I
next
expected.
time you're in Tarnos, Pem, there's a specific shop he'd like you to stop by. He's got some friends there who'd be willing to help you out. And he is.
Oh, this is far more than I expected. We were just doing our job.
What
Thank
you've
you.
done is more than just a job. It's, thank you.
Darius's ears kind of perk as he hears the slight jingle of coin from the edge and sort of like, His eyes kind of roll over,
Neurons.
and he sort of steps
Neuron
aside
activation.
and slides behind Lorik and puts his head on his shoulder and says, "What have you got there?" He
Well.
makes his chin over Lorik's shoulder.
Would you like to take a look? Lorik hands him the coin purse.
He looks at it and takes it. Firmly grasp it.
As Lorik just holds out, hey, you want to take a look? Darius does, in fact, take a look, and with a single motion, nabs the bag and kind of turns around. Lorik forever destined to remain poor, even after being handed a substantial amount of wealth.
Darius is his financial advisor. Darius is the bank. Lorik has money. It's just Darius has it.
Of course, of course. It's like a bank, but not a bank, because you can't trust banks.
Yeah, it's a bank that you can trust.
Oh my goodness! Wow, those are rare.
Will Darius be attempting to get a rough summation of it now, or is he going to wait entirely until he's in a more private space?
He's basically going to try and use his trade knowledge from eyeballing the top layer of the coins to see if it's a consistent, like if it's a mix of gold and silver, or if it's from the top. Is it like one solid type
From the
of coin?
top, you're able to quickly make out 7 gold and 2 platinum, and given its general weight and like your understanding of ratios, you're gonna put it somewhere between the value of like 600 to 900.
Oh, wow. He's going to hold the pouch up between 2 fingers and say, "This is wonderful." And look at Lorik and say, "We should do this kind of work more often," as he drops it into his bag of holding.
Actually, it's a bag of holding, parentheses, obliterates gold and platinum and returns it to the people gold.
Uh-oh.
We will count this later once it's... I will just put it in my inventory as bag of 600 to 900
I'll
gold.
just DM you and you'll just have Lord on it later.
Okay.
Well, do you think there's enough in there for... Well, I'll just come right out and say it. My armor has seen much better days, and frankly, after all the punishment I put it through over this past year, I'm worried that's about to fall apart at any given moment.
he's going to give like a sort of... and he sort of puts his hand on his shoulder. "We can buy you multiple sets of new armor, Lorik."
That's good to hear.
However, I would like to reinvest around 85% of it.
Fair enough. I would feel more comfortable knowing that that my armor is likely to not fall apart at any given moment.
Of course. 15% is more than enough for repairs. More than enough for repairs. In fact, it's more than I've had on hand in a long time. 15% is, I mean.
Well, I trust you'll be able to do some good work with the remaining 85% then.
If we can get the markets at the right time, a post-war economic boom tends to be large, so I'll probably wait to see where the markets are until then. I'll still hold on to it. We can always use it as emergency funds. But once I see an opportunity, I'm going to take it. And if it works out,
Alright.
we could be in the green.
That would be a change. Lastly, did you hear what he mentioned about that shop in Tarnos Pen?
Something vaguely about it. Did he say anything specific about it?
He said that they would be more than willing to help the lot of us out. I think that next time we're in town, we should check it out.
Indeed. A direct recommendation from a general means that that shop has got something more than just pots, pans, swords, and armor.
Although that in itself is a surprisingly diverse set of merchandise.
It's all steel.
Fair enough.
Regardless, we're not here to talk about business. We're here
Aye.
for revelry.
On that note, Lork is going to try and sit down at the table and just to take in the view of everyone celebrating, just to enjoying the fact that this can actually happen.
Even without the three of yours explicit asking, after a little bit of time, a few different drinks come out and are given to each of you. Lork's and Schoenhoff's look somewhat similar, just being a fairly fancy mead. Darius, as you look into yours is a little different.
How did the bastards know? as he holds it up in his hands, it's been too long, and does his sips.
It's not a cerulean blue, but it's a similar type. It's a different one it's not. It tastes kind of like cerulean blue, but it has that zap, like the shock stop.
Mm-hmm. Ah, the conjunction of two of my favorite things. This is going to put Darius into a good mood, and for a majority of the night revelry, after we're done with direct RP, he will be going around and celebrating with the soldiers.
This is good news.
And cheering with them, regaling stories, being a good sport.
Lork's just going to watch the proceedings with a bit of a grin going on as he's just slowly sipping away.
Caleb is actually going to sit with you guys, or Cable is going to sit with you guys, and he's gonna ask, because he was trying to ask this mid-conversation, so who was it that I did replace anyway? Y'all had a fourth man, as I recall.
Oh, he's
But
somewhat notorious
Darksbane
around
kind of
these
speaks
parts.
out, hey, fifth man, I'm part of it.
Well, sixth.
I'm part of it now.
Yes.
And he looks to Lorik. Hate to break it to you, but your friends have it being recalled.
Alright, my mistake, my manners are bad. I guess I just...
He's saying that to Lorik about,
okay.
Referring to Gelkin.
yeah. Something about a plot, but sounded like he didn't want you were to stay here.
Oh,
Don't know if he outranks you or anything, but
by some measures within a hierarchy, he does outrank me, but for the most part, we are equals.
well, that's nice.
At least until it comes to combat. As Darius sort of chuckles a little bit.
Gelkin and I both have our specialties.
Maybe, but I don't think that he can say he's got the kind of things that you do under your belt.
Lorik, would you mind giving me an insight real quick?
Sure. This is one of the things I'm decent at.
Alright, yeah, you're, by your estimations and how you've seen everyone else, you think you're probably in, the top 5 combatants of Dalmarevs right now?
Oh,
shit.
shit.
So,
You are close to the executors in strength.
well, okay,
by definition, he has to be higher than some of them.
yeah.
True. Among
Us.
So if we take the obvious first spot off, then he's actually number 4. Or in top 4, I should say, because you said among the top 5, not 5th.
I mean, at that point, it starts to get pretty trivial beyond the top one. You know.
Has Cable heard of Gelkin?
No, the exploit. You're also kind of surprised that, given what you know about Mr. Darksbane, they're not singing his praises too. And he talked to you about it earlier during your chess match. That the two of them kept their part of it way more quiet because it's far less good for morale to be like, oh yeah, we sabotaged what kept them alive, rather than oh we took out their leader.
Well, Cable just assumes, having worked with him, that he's giving him the friendly. I guess you just suck or something.
Of course. And he doesn't give it into it for a minute.
But Cable, he notes, yeah, well, if this gentleman is supposed to be your equal, well, I ain't heard of him, but I heard of you, so I guess, at least indeed, you're definitely doing something right.
Well, you wouldn't have heard of Gelkin. He is the Subtilitas Nominis. His job is to not be known, essentially.
Well, there you go, ruining his job.
See. Well, I guess if your job is to not be known, then I guess it don't make sense for me to know him. Alright then, but yeah, you said something about some amigo who was sharp. I just wanted to know about him, because I've heard about all y'all. You're a sorcerer, I don't know what you do, actually. He points to Darius, and shut up. He as he looks to Darkspan, and I can't go a single night without hearing about you, so who's your other man?
Well,
He's somewhat notorious around these parts. I don't necessarily know if we want to go saying his name everywhere yet.
I see. All right, then, forgive me.
listen, Lorik, if we're in the attempt to clear out his name, to get his deeds to be recognized as good deeds and not bad deeds, we've got to some sort of positive regale.
That is fair. Our mysterious fourth companion is Drifter. You may have heard of him.
Heard of him? He kind of slaps his knee, and he goes, "Oh, I know little Rifter. Back a spell, I used to work for the Volstroms. Arthur Volstrom, I used to be his bodyguard. It was a very easy job, but yeah, I used to sneak that little fella food. It was never right what they did to him."
Oh, well, he'll be interested to know that you're here, or better yet, maybe interested to meet you, depending on how circumstances go.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be fine to meet me. I always thought he liked me after I snuck him the ham. Yeah, that's why I asked. From the descriptions and from, recent events, he must have been a real good sharpshooter now that he's older to have landed that in Philip Bolstrom's neck. So, I figured that was him, but I didn't want to judge.
You know what? I thought your voice was familiar.
He probably only used me once or twice.
Honestly, there was another one of our number who is also a fantastic shot, although he's been away for a while. Probably gotten even better since then.
Oh, I'd be interested to meet him. I always like men who are in the same business as me. They always got stories to tell. They can talk the talk.
Well, he's currently on the other side of the continent, so...
As far as we know. He's not exactly easy to contact.
Oh, I understand. Yeah, you should hear what my baby orchid. She gets mighty mad at me when I don't make contact after a while. Oof, yeah. So I understand that. So it seems y'all been running around doing a lot of crazy stuff. I guess I'm just kind of curious to be in the loop. I bet y'all got quite a few tales to tell.
We've got so many, and so many that we can't tell, and so many that we could tell, and...
and so many that we could tell, but frankly, it would be better for the mood if we didn't.
That bad, huh?
There are a few that I would rather not bring up.
There's one that's pretty safe. That's epic, a spiteful regale, an adventure to save the soul of one who's lost, a treacherous dive through the lair of a genie.
Mm-hmm. And the confrontation with the icon at the end.
He looks at you both very curiously. He picks out a cigar from his coat pocket and he lights a match on the back of his boot. He begins lighting it. You see little tiefling horns on the side of it, and it burns a bright blue. And he flicks out the match. He goes, "All right, I always enjoyed a good story."
Out of character. Well, good news. You're about to get a story told by two characters who have 20 charisma.
Let's go!
You want to go and roll me 2 performances?
You
Sure.
got it, boss.
We all charisma in this
Wow.
party.
Wow,
Yeah.
look at that, a 6 and a 13.
I guess all except for me now.
Man. If only I
Man.
wasn't ass cheeks at rolling dice.
Yeah, true.
And so
It's
that's
simply a
how we
skill
got
issue.
here.
And that's how they
You
became
finish
the
your
Brady Bunch.
story after, in the middle of which another round of drinks comes around.
Wonderful.
So that's the long and short of it.
My. It sounds like y'all been in a lot of trouble since even before all this fiasco with the Civil War and all.
You could say that.
We were in a bit of trouble ever since we met each other, and even before that. Seems trouble has always found us as people, and so we band together to face trouble together.
I
I'd
think
not
that's
say that trouble had only found some of us, but no, you seem to be right.
Trouble will find a way to find us all, I find.
And hey, on some of the lulls, sometimes we make it our mission to find trouble again. She's a cruel mistress, but we miss her.
That indeed. She's like a good bottle of wine. You just can't stay away. Upon further conversation, you see as he twitches his eye Strunhoff's way, and he notices, "My friend, will you by happen to chance be a sorcerer of some kind? I know you're a spellcaster, I can see the look, but something tells me you got the sorcerer in you."
Yes, I would happen to be a dwarf sorcerer.
Oh, well, goody. Then we should get along just fine. You see, I'm part sorcerer on my mama's side. She was a court sorcerer, and I think that means that we'll have quite a bit in common.
I see. What is her lineage to sorcery from?
My grandmommy, she was a celestial of some kind. Didn't really get much of the details. But I know that it must have been important because he won't stop following me around. And as he points up, for the first time, you would notice an owl just hanging out at the very top of the ceiling.
I see.
Can't imagine it's very pleasant for him. Not following you, I mean being indoors. He says after a comedic pause.
I don't actually rightfully know. Reggie, what you think? And the owl just looks peering down, making its judgment upon you. You can't tell what it's thinking, but you could definitely tell that it's made up its mind. And Cable
We have
just
been judged.
Cable just sits there. He looks, and he just nods his head. And he says, "I have no idea. He actually don't say much."
I can imagine.
Yeah, he said he was part of our bloodline, something about my mama, my grandmama, and my mama being important to him, and he follows me now. They're kind of retired is all. So, yeah, I don't really know much about him, but he's been a help.
Well, it's good to have you on the team, Reggie.
You just hear?
Yeah.
Woo!
I know good talking to animals if they're not snakes.
Oh, y'all
I'm
could
not-
do that.
I'm no good at talking to animals in the first place, so.
Oh, you're good at talking to a snake.
I guess I'm good at talking to them in my own way. I've been around enough wildlife to know how they, how they interact. Not necessarily, like a druid, talk to them, but I think we have understandings. There was one time where I swear an owl bear was gonna eat me and cook me up for dinner, but for some reason, it let me go. I think it just liked the way I look or something.
Darksbane stands up, puts his hand on your shoulder. Maybe a bit of both, but for now, since we're gonna have a lot of time to talk on the road after they get all their stuff set up, I'll head out.
See ya, partner.
He nods and moves into the crowd, having a little bit more meal on his way.
Else, would you like us to see if Rifter's awake and make reintroductions?
I'd be mighty happy to do that.
I am going to force you to roleplay 2 characters at once, Evan.
Evan
It's
talking
okay.
to himself. I'm
I've
not
been
schizophrenic.
prepared for this. Thank God I'm a Kenku, one voice. Who's talking to who? You'll never know.
Damn, bro, that's crazy. Do you actually want to play that out, or?
I mean, it would not be much for
Yeah,
much.
just
It
go
would be.
ahead and just describe it then.
Cable goes in. He comes to the room and he says, Now, little Rifter. I hope you didn't forget your manners. Your mama did a very good job at teaching to them, and I would hope that would stick." And Rifter kind of looks at him, peers at his face, and says, "I'll be damned. Yeah, you, isn't it?" And he walks up to him and he goes, "You son of a bitch!" And they clasp arms like in Predator.
Except not nearly as muscular.
Except Cable is way stronger than Rifter. That's the difference.
I like to think that Cable tries to use his dominant hand, but that's the opposite one of the one Rifter lost. So like he had to change hands.
Yeah, it's like awkward for a second. They just brofist instead because they can't decide. Rifter mentions, I want you to know, mate, I'm gonna steal the hat. And Cable just kind of gives him a glare, and he says, "Now, partner, you don't touch another man's hat. You know that." And Rifter just kind of he gives him a cheeky grin. He says, "I'm gonna get the hat."
Out of character, I forget. Did Lore concede the hat to Rifter?
I think he did, but that's just my memory.
I'm going to run with the idea that Lore conceded the hat to Rifter to avoid having it stolen in the future.
But the TLDR is Cable reminiscing about how good of a mom Rifter's mom was, and Rifter telling the rest of the group that they can trust Cable. He's a good man.
As you step back out of the infirmary, what had been a light drizzle starts picking up a little bit more, and while it's not a torrent or a heavy rain or anything, it's certainly nothing to be scoffed at.
Oh, by the way, what has Cable heard of Thomas, of the Thomas incident? Like, what does he actually know?
Oh, of like the yesterday shit?
Yes.
Jack
Yeah, because
all.
all we
He
said
knows
was that
not a
Thomas
thing.
Walton had been neutralized.
Nobody knows about the Thomas shit other than that Thomas ain't there.
Okay, so he knows that Thomas has been neutralized. Okay.
If the party so chose to explain it.
Well, I told that to Gelkin. I said that Thomas had been neutralized.
Is
So
Gelkin
whether-
the kind of person to tell a lot of people that?
I don't know.
You would know. He's not.
Okay.
If,
I wasn't
if you
sure
haven't
since that would
told
be-
them, not many people outside of like the people in the know would know.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I wasn't sure if it would be tactically relevant or not, so I wasn't sure if Gelkin would have disseminated the info.
Tactical.
So the choice is yours to do with that secret as you will.
Okay. Well, in that case, Cable doesn't say anything. He would have something to say if he knew, but he doesn't. Yeah. In that case, he comes out of the infirmary or the hospital, or whatever you want to call it. And he's just kind of dusting his hands off and ready to get back to drinking. He looks for the most high class wine he can find and gets a bottle of it.
He moves back over, and as you re-enter the festival area, at first they give you a few weird looks, and they're like, "All right, come on, pay up." And then as Lorik and Darius and Strunov kind of move alongside you, following up, they get the idea and just hand it to you.
Well,
Cable puts out his coin purse and he's like, all right. And then as his newfound friends, like blitz him, you just hear the bottle clank, like wiggle on the table, and he's like, oh well, thank you, partner. And he tips his hat to them.
I did also want to say that as the party's kind of stepping out into the rain, Lorik would have first closed his eyes and taken a deep breath in, just kind of savored that first smell of the rain on, like, washing away what had happened over the past couple days. Yeah, sorry.
No, I like that. That's a good bit.
I'm
I
not
love
really. Darius watches Lorik as he takes it in, and then kind of breathes in for a second, and then looks over at Strunov and says, "I'm not really in the mood to have this get wet. It's kind of a lot of layers. Do you think you could?" And he sort of like raises his hands over his head. Thank you.
Don't mention it.
A gentle dome of rain begins to form, and at first it takes the form of slowing down, and eventually the raindrops, rather than falling all the way down, they sort of fall a little bit close to you, and then they get like spilled off to the side.
We gotta get windshield wipers on this thing.
We should get some rest for the night. We've done all we can, we've had some good celebration, and tomorrow we can get started on our mission. What do you lot say?
Sounds like a plan.
Agreed.
You see? Yeah, partner, I reckon that's a good idea.
You sure you wanna? Never mind. It's time to celebrate.
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm a man who can handle his drink.
Oh, it's not about whether or not you can handle it now. It's about whether or not you can handle it tomorrow when we're moving.
Worst case scenario, I can do what I've done for several members of the party in the past.
Listen, if it ain't at the speed of trying to hunt a bullet, it ain't the speed that I need to be worried about.
Bullet?
Yeah, that's a D&D monster.
Yeah, the little land shark thing.
Oh, nice.
Or bullet, however you...
Bullet, yeah, well, I the D&D monster.
Scammed.
The shark.
The
Shark.
land shark, yes.
It's the silver blahage.
Blah.
Blaha blah.
Blaha Blastoise.
Oh no.
Yo!
What about the giraffe? That's a pretty cool D&D monster.
No,
I
they got
think we're
hunted
talking
to
about the questing
extinction.
beast.
Oh, that's
Listen, People only came up with the draft after they saw the questing beast while they were really drunk.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Chew Hydra and cope about it. Anyway, would you continue? You see that he's
Right,
still
yeah.
very much in the life of the party.
Well, Cable after that will retire, but he will retire with that bottle of wine. He is not leaving without it.
Fancy. Anyone else got anything they'd like to do? Now that it's about like 2 in the morning.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, you
Lord
did.
is
You've
dying.
only been awake for like half a day. Alright,
Man, we really slept for a long time then.
you literally went to sleep after dawn.
Yeah,
Oh.
fair.
Wow. Oof. That's a Oofenheimer if ever I
Well,
heard one.
That, like, remember the dawn crested while you were
Yeah,
fighting him?
yeah.
You guys pulled an all-nighter. It's just that
Gaming.
instead of, like, you know, pillow fights and truth or dare and, like, fighting games, you were committing murder in, like, regicide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, what's the difference? I mean, same shit.
The
Really.
masculine urge to commit
I just think of
regicide.
regicide. I just think of regicide as pest extermination.
True.
True.
Eat the rich.
Based.
Eat the rich.
Eat the rich.
Saute. Shall we?
Delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Does anyone else have anything they would like to do involving the party?
No, I just think we're reveling.
Alright.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
next
biting.
the next morning, despite the moderate amount of inebriation, you get the posting from a specific messenger from the general, which is that in about 3 hours they should have their forward waypoint set up. From there, they're setting up there because that's one of the closest spots to the actual. Damn it! I had the line earlier. The not Fire Fort. What's it called? Golden. I said it earlier. What's it called? Flame Keep.
Flame keep.
Yeah,
is-
Flame Keep
Keep,
sounds
yeah.
about right.
Closest to Flame Keep that they can get while still heading on their main paths. So that's where you're gonna be dropped in. So go and make whatever preparations you need before you head out. The morning rain is still persistent, if a bit less.
Lork is going to change his spell preparation around a bit.
Darius.
Don't wait up for me, by the way. I am having to figure out what the fuck kind of spells Paladin has.
Wow, thank goodness I spent all day preparing my character sheet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this one's got new numbers.
So yeah, go ahead and take your time. Anybody got any fancy preparations they need to make beyond like just changing their own personal sheet?
Did Darius have any more dreams?
He did. Would you like me to detail them?
Go for it.
Alright. I will message them to you so that you can disseminate what you would like.
Okay.
No. I want to say that to when the party actually gets to the waypoint, Lork is going to cast Death Ward on Sternhoff.
What are the effects of that?
I just posted it.
Ah.
Just to a little bit of insurance.
I'm gonna say Cable when in the morning he wakes up relatively early and he friggin', what am I trying to say? He uses his wood carving tools to make a nice little figurine of a soldier man. No, just a generic, wooden soldier.
I see, I see.
Blah.
Yeah.
Blaha.
So, how would the party like to go through any of their discussions on prep? Any game plans you want to make?
Well, Lork is going to explain his rationale for casting Death Ward on Sternhoff, basically saying, you came dangerously close to actual death last time, and, well, frankly, you suffered quite a great deal of injury as well, and we can't afford to lose you, and well, since you have the least protection out of all of us, I figure that you could use one extra layer of assurance.
Don't worry, I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. But I appreciate it.
It's good to hear. And you know, Darius, I would offer you the same, but you seem to have a much easier time of staying upright.
Darius would be kind of in an entrance, like kind of out in the zone, kind of out of zoning out. That's what I'm looking for. And he sort of shakes his head. What? Sorry, what?
I was trying to make a bit of a quip. Never mind, the moment's passed.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I was. Excuse me.
Are you alright?
Just dreams. We'll talk about it after this is over.
Are they the same ones from just before this?
They're changing. They're becoming more clear.
Maybe that should be our next destination then. Don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of this.
They're good dreams. They're not bad ones. Just focus.
Alright. Alright, is everyone ready to head out?
Yeah, I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
And I hate to ask, but is anyone still suffering the effects of however much they drank last night?
Unless the effects of drinking happen to make you more handsome and charming, nah, I think I'm good.
Alright, but if you vomit on the side of the road, then just know I warned you in advance.
That's funny. You're funny. I like you.
As the lot of you makes your way out from your personal little barracks area, you first make note of how, even though there's a little bit of sun shining through the sky, through a parting in the clouds, for the most part it's a bright, overcast, slightly rainy day still. The second thing is that crouching down in the mud in front of you, just simply waiting on the opposite side of your door, is in fact Mr. Darksbane right there. And as he stands up, immediately all the mud that was around him just kind of falls off his armor and his cape and everything like that. Pristine as can be.
It's wonderful.
I really need to learn that spell at some point.
If you can.
I mean, it's one of the most basic spells there is. I just haven't bothered to learn it yet.
I'm just messing with you, Lord.
I know.
I'm talking about? I ain't the smart type.
Prested.
Oh, you mean this? And he waves his hands and make little sparkles.
+1.
You see, anything the player says is what your character says in canon. So Darius just said +1.
Yes.
Yeah, he goes ahead and he just lightly cleans up Lorik, like little pieces here and there with prestidigitation. And he
Thank you.
goes,
I'm fine for the time being. I literally just stepped outside.
"Oh, you can never be too clean. I mean, aren't you the big important type? I imagine you need to be nice and pretty like over him." And he points over to Dark's bed.
He gives a bit of just a bit of a salute. Nonetheless, capable hands between the 10 of us.
And besides, the way I see it, a pristine blade is an untested blade.
I guess there's some truth to that. Personally, I'm a big fan of gleaming armor. You ever tried that? I got a pair right here. And he goes ahead and he untucks his shirt a little to reveal very shiny, very pretty armor underneath. And he says, "My wife, she hates it whenever I get guts all over the place. She found the bottom of this. It never gets dirty. It's useful. It stays clean, but, it may not be worth your penny."
Well, any protection is good protection.
Hey, I would agree with that.
Fair enough.
I mean, surely where we're going, we don't need to be too worried about getting messy, right? And he kind of looks very nervous now.
Truth be told, I don't know.
Well, if we're following on our ideal, we don't really have any reason to get messy, but you never know what will happen.
I hope we don't. I promise. Oh, wow.
It can rain even on the sunniest of days. You've got to be prepared for it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Or, on the opposite, it can be the cloudiest, darkest day and nothing.
So, what exactly are we supposed to be doing, I guess? I'm just here to shoot people.
We're here to neutralize the arcanists and other mages of the Flame Keep.
Oh. So we hunting mages. Alright, fun. Little mage on mage violence. I get it.
Not necessarily hunting. We have a plan to neutralize the Keep without much bloodshed, ideally.
Oh, alright. Well, great. Lovely. I love everyone coming home okay. That's the best kind of battle that there is, ain't it?
Ideally, yes.
So, what's the plan, Chief?
Well, tell me, how familiar are you with Mage Killer Poison?
Oh, I'm pretty familiar. It's not too pretty. It'll kill a man pretty quick.
And presumably you also know that even an amount diluted in a body of water can nullify the magical abilities of even a dozen casters that drink from it, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar. My wife, she used to make this stuff for some wares. The things I had to hunt to make it, you would not believe the ingredients.
Your wife is terrifying.
Oh, yes, she is, sir. Much more dangerous than me.
I'll have to be careful should I ever meet her.
Oh, nah. You got nothing to worry about. We're friends. You seem like a nice guy. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to make you some of her pie. Ooh, she makes good pie.
Ah, hopefully she doesn't mix up her tools for mage killer poison and pie.
Nah, I can't reckon that she would keep those two things close. That would be quite life-threatening for me, seeing as how I'm a part sorcerer.
I can't believe Lothar got morbed on.
I can. Discord crashed for literally zero reason.
Get morbed.
It just decided, you know what? I've had enough.
I've had enough.
Not enough of this DM.
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
Literally.
Oh, God.
Anything else?
None that I can think of.
Alright. Party makes their way towards the teleportation circle site. And a few of the mages on site begin to set up a link. A few other people go in through first just to relink with a few of the rest of the forces, and then they gesture y'all for you to make your way on through the pillars.
Alright then. Shall we?
No time like the present.
I mean, it's what we're getting paid to do. Might as well.
Hi.
For the sake of money!
Money.
Well, ideally also for the sake of the Empire.
And freedom. Not the Empire, freedom.
Well, I can give or take. As long as it feeds my kids, that's all I care about.
Fair enough.
And Cable, like, whispers over to Schroenhoff, I was taking a gamble on that one. I thought he might take offense to that one.
Our group is very laid back when we're allowed to.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Listen, don't tell anyone we said it, but we've got our own gripes with the Empire in general, so... No government, no group is perfect. You do what you can, what's best for your people.
Looking like a man who seems like he knows what he's about. I can vibe with this.
It's going to be wonderful having you along. And it seems, at
Aye.
least from descriptions and stories that I've heard, that you're going to be worth your salt as well.
Oh,
Hi. I mean, frankly, we've been looking for allies, and you seem just the sort.
I'll do what I can.
Well, should we tell him now before we get into Korheim? Or are we going to tell him when we're in Korheim? How long are we staying with him?
You'll have to remind me which thing are we telling him about or not telling him about?
Thing. Why we're going in the first place?
Right. Sorry, there are so many the things that it's gotten hard to keep track of them all.
Yeah.
I think we should wait at least a little bit longer.
Sounds right. It's not that we don't trust you, it's just that we don't trust you.
And that aside, the knowledge is somewhat dangerous to have.
Well, I guess Thanks for keeping me out of harm's way. I guess I don't really need to know if it's gonna put me and my own in jeopardy. And just tell me who to shoot.
Aye. If it comes down to it, we will tell you, should you need to know it.
I'll trust y'all can make the educated decision then.
All right then.
So, Mr. DM, where exactly do we head?
Once you'll head through the teleporter, like they gestured for you, you
Yeah.
end up coming out the other side. You're in a little bit more of a clearing. The rain's a little lighter, but given the direction, it's probably going to catch up pretty soon. You meet up with the lieutenant, who ends up giving you out directions and sets you out on your way to where you'll be able to meet at you're heading out to a bend on the road that'll start leading up towards Flame Keep. You got one additional companion sticking with you that I am not currently going to animate, which is a rather young cleric who is also like dressed up quite a lot like some of the Rune Worldian attire, just to help sell the bit a bit more.
I see.
Lorik, how do we...
Good question.
You should... And he's kind of just gesturing around at your body and your just Dumrev sigils and...
Yeah, Darksbane's already wearing like different shit.
Do you have like a magic to like not be you?
Not exactly. No,
Do we...
I'm not versed in illusions or anything of the sort. I don't have different armor. I don't. I guess worst case scenario, I can go in unarmored, but
Do we have a cart? Do we have some sort of...
no, we left the cart back at Hectorum.
Ah, right. And he takes out his bigger bag of holding. Armor in.
At the words "Al Hectorum," Cable snaps his fingers and says, Right, I forgot to tell y'all folk. Yeah, my family's staying there.
Oh.
Yeah, I owe y'all a debt. See, it was never safe for my dear Delilah and my dear Dimitri and my lovely Orchid to stay in, these lands, being what they are and who they are. So they, took your advice, Mr. Big Man. And he taps Lorik on the shoulder. They're staying there for the refugees. So, thank you for keeping my own safe, in a way.
Oh, I'm glad I could have helped.
He tips his hat to you, and he puts out his hands like, oh, you may continue.
Well, I'm reluctant to go unarmored, but well, if all goes well, we won't even have to fight, so.
And worst case scenario, we can take it out, give you some time to rerobe if we think things might be going bottoms up. Or in preparation, you could go to the restroom with the bag and be armoring up.
That would take several minutes, so, which we
Indeed.
may not have.
Hence preparation. Hence I say, we get in there,
Aye,
then
aye.
you go to the bathroom and you're in there for... Whatever.
I know.
Nagging ensues continually as they get further, and he's making sure Lorik is fully prepared.
Understandable.
Aye.
And you're sure you packed an extra pair of socks.
Darius, you've known me for how long?
It's not been that long. I don't know every minor habit of yours. I have to
Darius,
jump.
you know I don't wear shoes.
Suddenly,
He just nods and continues walking. With like
Cable
with his
looks
mouth
down
open.
and he's like scratching his head, like, "How did I not notice that?"
We can fix that.
I would be amazed if you could.
I will fix that. Darius has gone from "I can fix you" to "I will fix you."
It will not be optional.
This is not a request. This is a threat.
You don't know what you're getting into. Several people have tried over the years, and all have failed.
I will.
Alright then. Just know what you're getting into.
Meh.
While we're at this kind of transitional period, I'm gonna use the bathroom quick.
Okay.
Okay. In that case, I'm gonna go get something to drink.
Rough timing.
If we've got 5 minutes, then I will run an extermination and get some more Lich Bone.
Addicted.
Not addicted.
Schizo,
I'm not
schizo,
addicted.
schizo, schizo.
I'm not addicted. I'm not addicted.
Ah!
Oh.
Oh!
Oh.
I got hungry.
Hello, Hungry.
Hungry, hungry,
Wait, no,
hungry,
you've got him.
hungry.
What are you doing with him?
Hey Chad, I told
Times
you
him up.
to. Chad, I told you to take a long resty. You've had 2 long resties, and for
I
some
did.
reason this token is still like in pain. Why
That's
is this
not
one in
attached to my
pain?
token, then.
Take a long resty, bestie.
If you look at my character sheet, it's rested.
Represents Darius redeemed.
Are you using the
Are you
old
on
Darius?
redeemed instead of on
Yes.
not redeemed?
I'm unredeemed.
Kringe.
Cancel. Control.
Cancel culture strikes again!
No, I copy and paste. I copied Darius, and then I pasted it, and it pasted Cable.
That's so
Speaking
funny.
of,
You also
since
don't need
Cable's-
to copy me. You can just
No,
take
I'm
my
doing
token
it.
and
Yeah,
drag
okay.
it.
Oh, no. Here's the thing. I was like, why is it not doing it? I moved your token on the other page. It left you at that. I pasted it, and it updated both of them. Yeah, I moved the first one around. I reset it, and it's like, nope, this is his health. And then I pasted it, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, I didn't move because I didn't realize that I had changed. I thought that I disconnected and reconnected because the Wi-Fi here was kind of
Anyway,
shit.
we are getting back into it now that it is just the 3 of us, as it is about to be imminent.
Just the 3 of us.
You can make it if you try. Sludging your way through the dirt-trodden mud, you make your way through a little bit of a clearing. Let's do a little draggy waggy. Each of you are all making your way at a pretty decent pace, but something about Schoenhoff's bubble tends to give way a little bit. Would each of you mind giving me a perception real quick?
Nah.
Hold on, I gotta get a good look at this.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
No. This guy next to us that I hopefully don't need a perception check to see.
No, that's the young lad who's with you with the mages thing, unless you missed out on that
No,
one.
I'm talking about our coal guy.
Mr. Cable?
Oh, Cable?
Yeah,
What about him?
I'm looking at his token.
Right. What about his token?
I just wanted to see it.
He was on the other page.
Oh, well, I wasn't here.
He was on the other page the entire time you talked to him.
Oh, well, I wasn't here.
Nice. Cope.
Wasn't his token zoomed out more? I don't know.
So, Schoenhoff, since you're the farthest away from all the raindrops, since they're all already, like, being pushed off in your radius, you don't really notice it. But Lorik and Darius, for a few seconds, you start to notice the rain... the influence of his radius that he's slowing the rain down seems to be growing. All of the rain nearby starts to be seeming to fall slower.
Hmm.
You make your way forward a few more steps, and suddenly the 3 of you are the only ones walking forward, and all of the rain around you not only slows down, but comes to a complete stop with single raindrops floating in midair. No longer falling.
Oh my.
Something.
Darius is going to take a step closer towards Sternhoff. to make sure that he's in range of not die.
Something seems wrong. I know I'm saying the obvious, but
The other 3 are stuck frozen still.
Oh my. Have we seen something like this before?
Nope.
Okay. I couldn't remember if we did or if I was confusing with something else. Okay.
You know what, I guess there's one event that felt a little similar to this.
Was it the Highborn?
It was the elevator.
The elevator.
When you and Hate did your thing.
Oh, where everything stopped Oh. Oh my. This feels similar. It's not the same, but to when Hayden and I were that split moment.
Do you think it's tied to Andromache then?
I could not tell you one way or the other, but something's wrong. Darius
Alright, we
is
should.
After just a few seconds, the voice starts to ring out through the each of you. It's a comforting voice, a soothing voice, perhaps one that might maybe remind you of her father if it's a good time, but one that has the air of a strong, in control voice. As it was yours who was affected, I am here to ask how much of a disruption did she cause when she broke the pact and had one of hers enter the plane the other night?
I'm sorry, who is this?
I ask this for your benefit to judge how I best might help. If you
I'll trade an
believe
answer
she
for an
has
answer
done
then.
more wrong, then I may help. Or if mine caused more harm than good during their chase, I would like to know so as well.
Is this truly the best way for us to speak? All of your others met us face to face.
You say answers for answers, and yet you seem reluctant to start. When have I ever been dishonest in the past? I've always been forthright with you.
When you deign to give any information in the first place. Alright. Here's my answer and my question. The dragon that was brought to this plane by her aided us a great deal in neutralizing an ally of the one we've been chasing. Now, I don't know how much you know about her dealings on this plane or not, but do you know if the scion Seiron Highstone is in fact a willing agent of Cassandra?
I do. Suddenly the focus changes to Darius. The best I can give is that in this mental voice, it's as if he is now looking at Darius.
Oh.
It's a strange feeling, to be sure.
Does it say anything, or is it just like expectantly waiting?
It's waiting.
Okay. I'm going to assume it wants my take as well. So far, every dealing that we've had directly with Cassandra or her agents has only been beneficial, has only been helpful. My question is then the follow-up to his question, is Seiron a willing agent?
Of course. It is my belief that he may not be playing by her rules, though.
Hence why one of her other agents eliminated one of his toys.
The focus changes to Schoenhoff.
I agree that her agent was key in winning that battle.
I ask you all this in good faith, in that by sending them here, she has broken one of the few concords we have between the two of us. And I must know how to respond, and I am asking the each of you for judgment. I would not pass any such things on the plane without the trust of those among it.
I believe that her extension here was an attempt to correct a mistake that she had made in trusting Sabron, in allowing the power. I do not believe this to be a breach, at least a serious one, any more than having Sabron on the plane in the first place.
Especially considering that her agent didn't come uninvited.
So be it. He then shifts his focus back to you, Lork, in the free answer to your question in an act of good faith. Yes, I do believe this to be the best way for contact. It minimizes the risks for which you might learn either of me or of others, and prevents any damages to anyone else. You start to feel a little bit of a weakening of the connection.
You mean keeping Hector's identity secret? Such as it is.
The rain, the rain was starting to slowly start moving a little bit, and then it just stops for a few seconds, and then it's absolutely pouring, just way faster and harder than it was earlier, and everyone is moving, and the rest of them are like already immediately right in front of you, calling to the three of you, like, "Come on, hurry up! What you doing back there?"
Hmm.
And it's like high pitched, and they're moving quickly before it returns to normal.
It's always about hiding something.
Case in point for why icons and their ilk can't be trusted.
We should go. We can
Aye.
mull this over and keep on mission.
Well, you have
I
quite
wasn't-
a few hours while you walk to where you'll be integrating, so you have plenty of time to talk.
I wasn't too hasty with invoking that name, was I?
No, I think it gave him a better perspective on how we approach this. Invoking that, in my eyes, was a sort of play at power of letting him know that we still have an inkling of what's going on. Whether or not that's good or bad, I can't tell. I don't know the information. I couldn't tell you if it's worth being hidden. I couldn't tell you if it would harm or help us if we knew it.
Aye.
We could be making the greatest mistakes in all of existence by trying to learn it, or we could be making the greatest discovery. That's the problem with the lack of information. You can't
Aye.
tell.
I would, much as I hate to say it, given what we've had to deal with thanks to Cassandra's creatures, but Andromache is the one that I trust the least by far out of the three.
It's difficult to say.
Time begins to
least-
slow down again for a moment.
What in the hell is it this time?
Not enough to cause a complete stop, but just enough for a message to get through. As the same voice connects through. I would be more cautious using his name, not for my benefit, but for others who may learn that you know more than you seem. Puts a target on your back, and one that I would not like to be fired upon. And time resumes.
We still have the second key card, right? The one that she gave us?
I believe I still have it in here. I wouldn't have disposed of it. Probably just somewhere in my catalog of different small pieces of paper.
I think when we get back to Hectorum, we need to seek an audience with her. Get some answers.
Perhaps. As well as potentially another audience with Calcus. Better understanding of all perspectives, and should he be willing, he sort of says, sarcastically towards the air, more after that, a deeper conversation with him. But as we've come to learn, that is not very easy. Perhaps after I do what needs to be done for my people.
I just find it rather tiresome being at their beck and call all the time, and strange as it sounds, I feel as though she is the one least likely to send us away the moment we invoke the wrong name.
We don't know what her angle on the pact is. Calcus has a strong stance on it, but if it's anything else, he's more than willing to talk.
Aye.
Frankly, I don't know if Andromache is aware of the experience Hayden and I had. If that's what he is, always, then we're walking into something that we cannot physically comprehend.
Frankly, I'm still not entirely aware of what you and Hate went through.
It's not describable.
Aye.
Well, at bare minimum, we know that initially it wasn't a usurp of power, but perhaps a misuse of given power. Which
Maybe.
means we know for sure that Cassandra could be amicable to helping us take him down. We still have the gem, correct?
Aye.
It could be a token of good faith, returning it to her. Though I know not what the consequences of that might be, so I would suggest we converse with
Aye.
Calcus about that first. We still don't know the extent to what power these things have, and I don't suggest we bring it to his domain for the consequences
no.
it bring.
Calcus himself said to keep it far away from him.
Indeed.
Although, judging by what happened the last time, I don't think he would recommend bringing the gem to Cassandra. Rather, I would...
It's hard because Every fiber of my mind would say this is the strongest bargaining chip we have over Cassandra, and to not use it is such a folly of resources. But on the other hand, the consequences that it might bring are. We should speak about it with all of them independent of the context of our possession of the gem first, and then reevaluate.
My thought is we go to Cassandra seeking an audience and asking her about what happened with Seiron, and then sometime later bringing up the gem's existence.
I think a deeper conversation with Calcus about what these things are, considering we are getting deeper into it, maybe not his, but the extent to hers, angle it as a desire to learn more about potentially stopping her if we need to deceive him, which I don't want to do.
Or even asking how Seiron could have gotten it in the first place, and why he might have put it so easily within our reach.
He intended for us to get it, that's for sure.
Aye.
But why?
Well, I know that at the time he seemed intent on having you use the armor to murder every last Yuan-Ti, or seeing what ends we would use it for.
That line that he gave was far more understandable in the context that he is the scion and not the spirit.
Hells, he may have even wanted to use that as an opportunity to get rid of you.
Perhaps. Out of character. If Lothair killed me from that, I would have fucking loved it.
From which one? The elevator?
No, from Darius saying, I want all Yuan-Ti to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that probably would have actually just outright killed you.
Yeah, probably. But luckily, that's not the wish that went forward.
It's what he would have wished.
Anyway, let's catch up with the others properly. We've kept them waiting long enough.
I
was
assume
assuming
you've
you
been
were
walking with them just farther behind.
Yeah. They might get a bit suspicious if we stay too far back.
Perhaps. Before we do, though, I know we need more information about this, but I want to know where you think our stance should be should we need to make one with the information we have. We might not get an opportunity for more information. So if we had to choose, if we were forced to make a stance against one of them with another, who would you choose?
I would stand with Calcus because he's the only one who's actually given us anything concrete as much as...
And thus with Andromache against Cassandra. All right.
We don't necessarily know how deep the relation between Calcus and Andromache is.
We know that the relationship between Calcus and Cassandra is negative. Perhaps not as deeply as Andromache's, but...
We'll see what we can find out if we can get that audience with her.
Indeed, it's past time that we've spoken once more.
Aye. And it should just be a quick little trip once we get back to Hectorum. Then we can take care of everything else.
So our schedule is find condemning evidence, get the Empire to turn against him, then look for more information on the side that is not explained. Perhaps we should tell Perlin to wait on revealing the information until we
get more from Cassandra.
grasp, because we don't know what he'll do if his kingdom turns against him.
Aye. Well, these are all problems for another day. We have another problem directly ahead of us. The Flame Keep.
Indeed.
After about another hour of making your way through this forest, you start to get to a more wide open plains area. Continuing down that for a little bit, and you see a site where there's been a fairly recent, not super recent, probably about like 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago battle. And the most noticeable aspect is that, while there are a few casualties out and away, the majority of the problem lies in that there's a single area where there has been a variety of meteor strikes.
Mhm.
Which, as I'm sure you can imagine, does a lot of devastation to the local terrain.
Hold on a second. Meteor strikes. That's a 9th level spell. Worry.
Yeah.
They are called Flame Keep for a reason.
Yep.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to do? Because I feel like if we go a little farther, we're probably going to need all of everybody on board.
I think we're good for now. If we want to
Yeah.
stop and wait for Evan.
Schoenhoff, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. And with that, I will thank
Oh!
you guys. Oh,
Hold on.
rewind.
No, I wanted to talk to Sternhoff, but I wasn't sure when he was back or not. At the same time that he would have said to Lorik, which stance would you take, he would turn to Sternhoff and say, and you, if you had to make a decision about one of the icons right now with the information we have, who would you choose to stand with and who would you choose to go against?
Well, knowing what we know currently, and with the intention of sharing the same stance in the group we're in, I would probably have to side with Calcus.
Indeed. All right. I just wanted to know each of your perspectives should we be forced into a situation. I don't think it will happen, but we have to be prepared for it. We have to know where our loyalties lie at the moment. If we can even call them loyalties.
I wouldn't.
If I was to be honest with you, right now, I always have my faith to Calcus. You know that I have a positive relationship with him more than any of you because of our agreement, but if it wasn't for him, I would be slighted towards Cassandra right now.
And I would be inclined to agree.
I also have my reasons for wanting to side with Cassandra, but
Frankly, your ties to Calcus are essentially the only reason that I don't lean toward Cassandra.
He is genuine. He is removed from it, which makes me think that he wants to have little to do with it now. Little to do with the Accords. Removed on his own little demiplane. But he knows things that we need. He's the hermit in the infighting of siblings, it seems.
If they even are that.
It's the closest word I could say for it. What
Fair enough.
other kind of people have that level of familiarity with each other? Lovers, maybe, but
I was about to bring up former lovers.
that's too distant. There would be more vitriol, I would say.
As if there hasn't been a great deal of vitriol.
Perhaps, but it hasn't been destructive enough yet. There's
From
not
what we've seen.
quite. Either way. Should
Ah.
the need arise, we will stand wherever Calcus does.
Until we get more information that may change that.
All right. Then let us continue. Bum,
Alright.
bum, 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 bum.
Scene?
I'd say so.
Alright. With that done then, and barring any other interruptions, and please do feel free to interrupt. This is one of those times where interruptions would be a good thing if you truly honestly mean it. I believe
Dick.
well, nice. Well, that was a relatively short 2.5 hour session or so. I think nonetheless it had some good insights from generally introducing a new character, helping give a little bit of dick sucking revelry, and revealing a little bit more of the lore and giving the party a chance to make some choices. I think it was all in all fairly successful. Thank you for showing up and having this time together.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was fun. I liked the lore threads. I think that those were very good at helping us determine what we're doing afterwards, our conversations that need to be had. I am not looking forward to. Well, I am looking forward to it. I am not looking forward to, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
Having
You as Darius are not looking
confirm,
forward.
to converse once again with Calcus dancing around, getting killed.
Does tend to be
Those
how it
topics.
works sometimes.
Well, at the very least, we do know that he is susceptible to banishment, assuming he rolls low.
I wonder where he was banished.
I don't know.
That could be such a good lore development thing, like forcing yourself onto okay, because there's got to be a way to be sent with
I
someone.
think there's
in
like a
banishment.
tully tether that lets you bind yourself to another target. But
And then
I
be
don't think
banished
it
from
exists
the
in 5e. I
portals.
think it was like a 3-5 thing where you can link to someone, and if they teleport, you teleport with them as long as you don't end up in a wall proportional to them.
Lol.
Also, we don't know if he actually went anywhere. He could have just been in a pocket dimension and then come back.
True.
It could have.
Although-
This could have been his plane.
Honestly, the fact that Calcus has shaped this plane so much makes me think that he came here from another plane.
Maybe he might have terraformed his home as well. We don't know. After he got power.
Frankly, kind of a shitty terraforming job since it's just a rock in the middle of an orange void.
Yeah, we don't know.
Anyway, with that, I shall end the stream.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Ending the stream with me shit-talking Calcus's eye for terraforming.
And then he said, "It's ending time."